Meteorologist Tuttle here. For years, I've been recommending Ferguson Roof Systems to homeowners across Oklahoma. So when Mother Nature struck my house, it was an easy call to make. There's no one I would trust more than Ferguson Roof Systems for my home's roof. Since 1977, Ferguson has led the industry with an A+ Better Business Bureau rating and lifetime warranties. Plus, they'll even deal with the insurance companies so you don't have to. So when Mother Nature strikes, make your first call to Ferguson Roof Systems.
Hey everyone, Meteorologist Tuttle back with you again. We're doing another live weather update now that the latest computer model data has come in at the 9 o'clock hour. So we're going to see if anything new has changed in the forecast from earlier this afternoon. And when I authored the blog earlier this morning, took a long time to put that thing together. There's a lot of graphics in there if you hadn't seen it. Let's see here. Alright, why are you not being nice to me? Let me see here. I got everybody happy but Instagram Live. For some reason, Instagram doesn't want to work. Interesting. Let me see if they changed something. It's possible they did. Yeah, they did. Oh, they moved me from Dallas to Houston. Now, why would they do such a thing? I don't know, but they did. Alright, that should work now. Key is should theory. Yeah, ain't gonna work. Why you gotta be like that, Instagram? I don't know. Alright, well, whatever. Can't win them all, I guess, tonight. Sorry about that. But it does happen on occasion. These platforms don't always play nice. But we're going to go ahead and move on anyway. So you guys out there on Facebook world, thanks for tuning in. YouTube and Rumble and TikTok. Good to have you in locals as well. So everybody knows the deal by now. Sign up when you can. I've been letting a lot of people in the group today. So today was a busy day. Very busy day. So many of you got accepted in the group over the last few hours. And then I'll get another big group of you in here. Probably, maybe tonight. I don't know. My eyes are getting heavy. I've been up since 5:30, so I'm a little on the tired side. All right. Well, let me see here. I think everybody's in. Everything looks good. So let's just get on with the program, shall we? I think we shall. All right. Well, today was a good day. Every time I do that, I want to say no one got shot in South Central LA. Anyway, it was 34 degrees in Spencer. Also, pretty much over most of the Oklahoma City metro area. Even Tulsa, you guys topped in around 34 degrees. So just a couple of degrees above freezing. But a nice little cool spot for today. And actually, this is going to feel warm to you, considering what's coming. So remember, when you do have a situation like this, protect the people, plants, pets, and pipes over the next few days, because we are going to be in for some pretty seriously cold weather. So it is life-threatening. If you're going to be out and exposed for any length of time, you will probably not survive it, including the pets, so make sure you take care of them. Minimize time outdoors, prepare for power outages, and there might only be a few. I mean, if there are, it's not necessarily the weather related, other than just, the freak occurrence that does happen. We're going to get a lot of snow with this, though, in some areas. We'll talk about that. Check on the elderly and other vulnerable, make sure they're okay, and we'll just move on from there. I'll show you how to protect your pipes here in just a little bit. All right, here's a look at the upper levels of the atmosphere. This guy right here is our wave. In other words, this is our short wave trough moving through. This creates the lift in the atmosphere, which is represented by the colors you see on the maps. It's moving through Oklahoma. The best lift associated with this kink right here, and the colors means everything to the east of it. So basically this whole region here from southeastern Kansas to Missouri is in the better, more favorable position for this. Plus it's got a little bit better moisture up here that does work with too. So that's one thing's lacking across the southern half of Oklahoma. The timing on this, we'll look underneath that level down to the 700 millibar level. And if we head into about, let me start it right here. Here's midnight, Monday night. Okay, there's Tuesday morning. So we already have a lot of lift showing up here across the state. This is going to get those clouds to get going. This is going to start to get the light precipitation to get going. If we go through time, here's around the mid-morning hours, and then there is the midday hours, lunchtime. Again, the brighter the color, the stronger the lift. So you can see that it has manifested itself. More so in Kansas and Missouri there by the mid-afternoon hours. And then by late afternoon, it starts to move off to the east. So it's here and done. So basically, it is just a one-day system. It is 24 hours from coming in to leaving the entire state of Oklahoma, and then moves off to the east pretty quickly after that. All right, so that's the timing on the system. Now, we talked about this earlier today. These are actually temperatures like a departure from normal. In other words, what are they with respect to what they would normally be? And they're in the minus 30s, minus 40s, maybe even minus 50s at times, where parts of the country would normally be. In other words, we would be a little bit warmer, but we're going to be a lot colder. So that's pretty significant cold air, and that lingers all the way, the blue stuff, till the end of the week. So this thing stopped on Saturday, and we're still below normal, but at least we're starting to get above normal up here in Canada to make up the difference. But that just goes to show you it's going to be a cold week in general. Our coldest, longest stretch probably of the entire winter. Okay, so what about temperatures? Let's take a look here. I'm going to zip on through and go to, let's go to tomorrow. I've always been skipping past Monday. Let's just revel in it. Enjoy that nice warm spell. 45 degrees, 47 Oklahoma City, 48 maybe even. Some 50s down southwest Oklahoma. Ah, what a beautiful day. Somebody get out the Mr. Rogers theme song. Yeah, it's going to be pretty nice considering. So that's it. After that, it's all downhill. So let's go on ahead and move on downhill. So here we go. Here's midnight hour. That moving on downhill is already happening. This is a model blend for temperatures around the 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock hour. Oops, let's stop right there, 6 a.m. Okay, so when you get up and about on Tuesday, we already have signs of the cold front moving down south of the I-44 corridor, which means anything along that line that points to the north will be in the form of some light freezing rain, some freezing drizzle, some sleet, and occasionally some snow grains, especially as you go farther north into northern Oklahoma, then all snow by the time you get into Kansas. So as we head from the morning hours into the lunchtime period, that cold air continues to sag to the south. So this will be warm enough for just rain down here for a while, but otherwise, again, freezing precipitation anywhere you see the colors in the blue, white, and purple. All right, let's go on into Tuesday evening at 6 o'clock. You can see our temperatures are going the wrong way. Normally you warm up during the day. We're actually going to have falling temperatures during the day. About 10 degrees in Enid, 14 Ponca City, 19 in Tulsa, Liberal, Kansas, checking in at 8 degrees. Now let's fast forward into Wednesday morning. We're looking at 4 degrees in Oklahoma City, minus 5 in Liberal, Kansas. Whoa, that is cold. Man, all right. So we have some temperatures close to zero. This is just a model blend. This is, in other words, this is conservative. It could be colder than that. Here's a look at Wednesday, the rebound. 6 degrees in Enid, 9 degrees at noon, Oklahoma City. How about in the afternoon? How about 13? Can we make it 13? Possibly. I don't know. Possibly. We'll see. A lot of times you get that really good cold centered high moving in. You just really can't recover that much, unfortunately. So it's one of those deals where it is what it is and not really much you can do about it. But let me go ahead and close this down. Get tired of hearing that noise. There, close that. Okay, let's see here. Let's go on to Wednesday night into Thursday. Here's 6 a.m. and now you've got minus 1, minus 4, minus 2. So now you got the really cold stuff sagging southward. These are just actual air temperatures. These are not wind chill values at all. So in other words, it's just the bruntness of the Arctic air. So we're going to, again, struggle to stay above freezing across the northern half of Oklahoma. All right, on Thursday afternoon, we're going to rebound you, though. Single digits to the north, teens to the south. We'll then eventually go to the 20s to the south and teens, low teens, to the north. Ponca City topping out right around 11 degrees. So Wednesday and Thursday are not going to be nice, folks. I mean, really brutal. All right, so when do we get a relief? Here's Friday morning. Back down to single digits we go. Now remember, if you're susceptible to pipes bursting or pipes freezing, you're in the deep freeze. So this is a 3-day deep freeze right here. So we do not get above freezing, which means you get no water for a while. So make sure you plan ahead, get you a couple extra gallons of water. Make sure you got somewhere to shower if you need to. Otherwise, Friday, here we go. Do we get above freezing? Oh, not. We don't do it in this data set. That's okay. It happens. It's a pretty good front. All right, so there's Saturday, 6 a.m., teens to 20. And then there we go. There's Saturday afternoon. Well, we're just heating up. We're back into the widespread 30s and some 40s coming on in. How about that? So that means any deep freeze that we've had with any frozen water, the pipes, etc., that means Saturday is your day to thaw out and things looking much better. And then on Sunday, we'll start you back in the 30s in the morning, but then we're going to warm you up into, it looks like the 40s and 50s across the state. So looking good there. So we do have a good looking weekend, comparatively speaking. Now, we're going to have some wind with this, obviously, some strong gusty north winds, 30 plus miles per hour at times. So let's take a look what that means for our wind chill values. So let me zip on down. Here we go. So here's Tuesday. All right, so wind chill values dropping off. Oh, did I skip it? I sure did. There we go, in the evening. So there's Wednesday evening. Wind chill values dropping down to below zero. Bartlesville and Ponca City, Enid, up in northwest Oklahoma. This whole area around Woodward's around -9. As we head into the overnight period, it gets colder, of course, so then therefore wind chill values drop even further. We're looking at a wind chill value around a -20 across a large area here of northwest Oklahoma, the Panhandle. So keep in mind, that will allow frostbite to occur in just about 30 minutes or less. So you need to be very, very careful, especially if you work overnight outdoors. As we head into the period into Wednesday, of course, temperatures do rebound a little bit, so the wind chill takes a little bit of an edge off. By late afternoon, the wind chill values are still below zero, but at least not as brutal as they were. All right, let's go on into Thursday. Same thing. We're just going to repeat. Wind chill values down to the minus teens and probably a few -20s sneaking in here. There's a couple. So again, another brutal start for our Thursday morning. And as we head into Thursday afternoon, we are back now above zero for a wind chill finally in central Oklahoma, but not so much up north. Now keep in mind for the kids and stuff, if they're outdoors and they're not protected, that's trouble. You don't want that. So make sure if the kids are going to be outdoors, they are bundled up head to toe. The only thing you can see on them is their peepers, and that's it. Okay, so here's a look at wind chills for Friday. Again, starting off with readings below zero across most of the northern half of the state, and then by the afternoon, wind chill values will drop off, not to be as bad. So we'll be rebounding a little bit, so 20s and teens. So we do get some relief there. So I wanted to spend a little extra time on the temperatures, kind of let you know what we're in for. This will be the coldest weather we've seen since February of 2021. Okay, so the dry slot. Good old dry slot. Who's getting it? Somebody always gets it. And we're going to get it right here across the southwestern 2/3 of the state. That means the northeastern third right here is still into the moisture. So that right there is the one map all you need to see as to who's going to be getting the heavy precipitation and who will not be getting heavy precipitation when it's all said and done. So let's break that down for you here. Here's a look at the high resolution HRRR, and then it'll kick start our precipitation for Tuesday. So let me zip on. There we go, right there. All right, see, I just kind of blossoms. This is around 4 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock from Enid to Stillwater, starting to take shape here in Oklahoma City. And then there's 6 o'clock. All right, now the model's going to struggle as to where it puts the exact position of the cold front, but where it has the green, it has all cold rain, and then where it has the colors, it's struggling to find out what to put on here because there's not a lot of lift in the atmosphere in some of these areas, so it's a lot of kind of a drizzle, very light precipitation look to it, and it's also with the little warm nose here in the mid-levels, and that little warm nose and the lack of really heavy lift and this snow growth layer zone and the moisture to go with it is lacking in all that, which means it's all kind of lower level stuff. That usually gives you a little bit more of a freezing rain drizzle situation, but you'll get some snow grains in here too mixed in as well. But that's kind of what we've got going on here for this system. So there's not a lot of good deep mid-level moisture to work with. And not a lot of good mid-level lift to work with. So kind of low-level stuff, which is basically what happens when you have an overrunning warm air advection pattern over top of a shallow, cold Arctic air mass. Okay, so here's 7 o'clock in the morning. So you can see this mess still continues around here. So if you are heading out for your morning commute, morning drive, etc., you're going to have problems. I'm sure, I don't want to say I'm sure. I'm sure everybody's going to want to know if their school and their work and everything is canceled or closed for the day. I don't make the call, but ooh boy, it's going to be a close one. So it's going to be kind of similar to what you had a few days ago. Same kind of idea. It's just enough to cause a skating rink out there, and that's about it. When nobody wants to drive on ice, it's a nightmare. All right, so here's 8 o'clock in the morning. Here's 9 o'clock. All right, this stuff's all the way down to Lawton, up to Tulsa. The model is not moving that line any farther to the south. That's, of course, an error. It's not going to be that. So that's an error in the model. But regardless, it still shows you that you have a mixed bag of precipitation here, including on up to the north. So we head into 10 o'clock in the morning to 11 to 12. You still got that mixed bag here over the I-44 corridor and eastbound on I-40. And then now you're getting some good heavy snow bands up here across the northern parts of the state. And that's around lunchtime. All right, so there's 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, heavy snow moving through northeast Oklahoma from Stillwater, Guthrie area up toward Tulsa. And then there's our wintry mix of Muskogee to McAllister, or a lot more ice mixed in with that. And then there's some brief little heavy round of snow moving through the northern side of Oklahoma City. Okay, so that is, in a nutshell, what happens through 6 o'clock in the evening. Now, the next several hours after that, this snow band will wrap around and move off to the east and clearing the state by midnight. And then this little mesh right here will also shift off east into Arkansas. And how much ice are we going to get out of this deal? Well, the good news is it's not going to be a power outage situation, at least here in central Oklahoma, because of the ice. But it will be a traffic nightmare nuisance all over our large area. And then once you get east in this region, I talked this the other day, that early this afternoon didn't mention it because the model had backed off, but now it's going a little bit heavy again, so we'll see. But where you get these areas of about 0.3 of an inch of accumulation or more, if this were actually verify, you can sometimes get sporadic power outages, especially if you can add a little bit of a wind component to it. So there might be some here across eastern Oklahoma as you head out toward Fort Smith. So be advised of that. You're probably the most susceptible in this particular pattern with that. Here, move this over so you can see a little bit better. There you go. So just kind of heads up about that. All right, and I can actually show you Arkansas as well. So that extends eastward to Little Rock. And this stops, by the way, at 48 hours for this particular model. I can extend it further, but this model doesn't go that far. But what it does, your zone just basically shifts a little bit more here to the east, and for this light stuff that comes in. Let me see if the blended models will show us at least something similar. And it may not. Let's see. Let's go to Wednesday morning. Yeah, there you go. At least it shows you the outline of where it is. Amounts are actually a little bit higher than this, but again, focused mostly on the travel component of the deal, not necessarily a bunch of widespread power outages. So again, maybe some sporadic stuff at the higher elevations where you do get a little bit more. But anyway, so that's what's going on with that. Okay, when you look overall at the QPF stands for Quantitative Precipitation Forecast. It's basically a way to say if it was all rain, in other words, just liquid, and it wasn't frozen, how much would you get? All right, in other words, how much would the rainfall bucket tip over? Well, you get about 0.2 here in much of I-35 corridor, and then you get around 0.4 in Tulsa and up around an inch in the White here area over parts of Missouri and a little bit of Kansas. So that means this is the bullseye area, and you do know it won't be rain at all, which means now we know it's going to be all snow. Now down here we get the wintry mix, so it's not going to be that easy of a conversion, but up here it will be. So we can take a look at what those totals are, and if you do look at that and just do some basic math on this one, you're looking at least about 9 to 10 inches. Earlier data had suggested a foot in some of these areas here for south central Missouri and out west to just around the Kansas border. If you do notice, the northern side of Arkansas is in the snow. The southern half, you got a little bit of a dusting on top of otherwise the little light icing glazing that you're going to see. All right, let's take a zoom in view of that here for Oklahoma. Oklahoma City at most, the data I've been seeing lately, everything's kind of backing off snowfall totals little by little, and it's been down to now a ½ inch to an inch on the north side and less than that on the south side. So basically I-40 seems to be the cutoff, and then everything north of that it gets progressively heavier. But once you get to the counties up here, we're looking at 2 to 3 to 4 inches of snow. Bartlesville earlier was in the 6 to 7 inches, and now they're kind of backing off a little bit there. Tulsa was about 3 inches earlier, now it's down around 2. So again, that's the trend, is to kind of push this back north as it introduces a little bit more of that icy mix instead, with the heavier snows just north and east from there. And again, we mentioned the winds will be up quite a bit on Tuesday, so keep that in mind as well. And that will lead to these maps, which is basically what impact do you have overall from the storm. In this particular case, we have kind of what we would call it a minor impact here across I-40 and points northward here in the yellow, which means inconvenient, mainly driving conditions is the main cause there. And then you have moderate impact in orange, just where you have the heavier measurable amounts of snow, which can then cause some visibility issues. Maybe there's some drifting, maybe some whiteout at times. And then you got the red area, which is major impacts. And of course, that's even more of the snow, as we talked about, and obviously a lot more on the accumulation side of things. Now that, of course, expands eastwards into the northern third of Arkansas and a good chunk of Missouri for the major impacts. So that's obviously going to affect those folks up there. Okay, temperatures. Like I said, we're going to be down around the goose egg here for Wednesday and Thursday morning. Not much better Friday morning, the newer data. Let's see, Tuesday, this temperature will be at midnight and then falling throughout the day. So we won't be in a pleasant status at all for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We're not going to crack freezing. I was hoping maybe we might just touch or just barely get above it if things go well, but not going to happen. Looks like the way the trend has been going. But then Saturday will blow right past it, and looking good after that in the extended, and that way everything looks better on that end. Okay, a couple things I want to talk about here. If you do go to my website, which is AaronTuttleWeather.com, and you click on multi-state road conditions, you can come over here. You can see the ground temperatures there, the snow route plotted, and then this map will light up like a Christmas tree once you get all the crews out here working the roads with their live cameras on their vehicles, and then you'll be able to see how things are going, plus the roads will be color-coded. And then the same thing for these guys here. For different states, surrounding states, they're on here as well. You can just basically just click on these and they'll just pop up the cameras, and that way you can see how things are moving, if traffic's moving slow or fast, and if the roads look like they're covered. So you can do that on my website. I've got all the surrounding states on here, so that should be good for you. And then, oh, I know what I want to show you. These guys down here. If you do have to get out there on the ice, talked about this before, you need to walk like a penguin. You're like, what in the world does that mean? It just means that you want to put your center of gravity forward over your front leg, like you're aligned like a penguin would, and then you want to do like a little mini scooting steps versus big long strides. So here's a big long stride where your center of gravity is kind of split in between. And actually, because the way you stride and the way you move, it creates an angle that's not perpendicular to the ground, even though it looks like you would be. And what happens is, anyway, you slip and fall. And when you do slip and fall, the first thing you do is you put your hand out, try to catch it, and that then springs your wrist or breaks your hand and your arm. And of course, you're going to hit your hip anyway. So now you got two injuries to deal with. So obviously, this isn't a good deal. So if you scoot and lean forward and walk slow, you'll be better off in that deal. If you do happen to catch yourself starting to fall, if you can think of it, kind of wrap yourself up real tight like this as a knee-jerk reaction. Instead of putting your hand down, just do this and just stiffen up like a board, and then just fall your entire body all at once, everywhere at the same time on the ground, so you disperse that momentum. It's old physics, F equals ma, force equals mass times acceleration. And what you really want to do is you want to spread out that impact over a larger surface area, and that reduces the overall force in one specific spot, which eliminates or reduces the potential for a break, right? So protecting your bones. All right, let's go into the next graphic I had for you. That was the pipes. Some of you are going to have to run your pipes instead of dripping. We got to let them run. So that's what they call them now. They trickle. So we did a trickle the other night just to be sure. Wife's all panicked now because it happened once, so she thinks it's going to happen each time we get cold. And I'm like, I think it'll be all right. She's like, I can't risk it. We're dripping or we're running. I said, that's fine. It's whatever. So yeah, so run your pipes, run your faucets. And it's funny, I did see a pretty intense, heated debate on Twitter X the other day during one of these deals. And somebody said, does anybody ever think about this? We tell everyone to drip their water at home. How in the world is the city infrastructure able to handle everybody turn the water all at once? And I said, I don't know, that's a great idea. No one ever talks about that. And I've never talked to a city official about it to say, hey, what if everybody turned their water on all at the same time? I'm pretty sure that'd lead to total chaos, but I don't know. We tell everybody in the weather business to run your pipes, they don't freeze. So tomato, I don't know. Figure it out, after the fact. And then maybe we'll get some better guidance. But regardless, what you can do, obviously, is protect them when you can and shut off the water to your home, or at least know where your water shut off is. You can try to thaw them out if they get, frozen over with a hair dryer or a heater. Just watch out for anything flammable, that kind of stuff. All right, let's go to the next graphic, and then that's it for this one. Hypothermia. This is actually a pretty serious situation. To avoid it, you're going to do like this little girl right here, and you want to dress in layers. All right, so you got your hat on. She doesn't cover up her whole face. She needs to cover up the nose too, in this case. Face and mouth, cover that up. Scarf, knit, all whatever you got. Otherwise, mittens, gloves, boots, water resistant, several layers of loose fitting clothing, a water resistant coat. So I know the kids like to run around and stuff. I mean, they're warm in theory, right? But it's the exposed skin is what matters, even though they're warm, and it can end up costing them. So make sure they cover their nose, ears, toes, cheeks, chin, and fingers. So elderly's at risk, of course. Anyone outdoors for long periods of time is going to be at risk. People who get loaded, either legal or otherwise, are at risk. Babies sleeping in cold rooms, they're at risk. And then let's see here, what else? Oh, signs and symptoms of frostbite. Redness or pain in any skin area, that may be the first sign. A white or grayish yellow skin area that feels unusually warm or waxy. Numbness. For hypothermia, a little bit different. You're going to be shivering. You're going to be exhausted. Confusion. Earlier today I said, it sounds like the flu. That's how I was. Fumbling hands, memory loss, slurred speech, drowsiness. Infants will be turning bright red with cold skin with very low energy. So obviously that means your temperature's getting down to around 95 degrees or lower. All right, how do you treat them? Contrary to popular belief, you do not try to heat them up as fast as possible. Apparently, it's like watching the grass grow in the winter. You do it nice and slow. So seek medical attention as soon as possible. Get them into a warm shelter, warm room. All right, remove all the wet clothing if they have any on, and then warm them under dry layers of blankets and some fresh clothes. If you can, if you want to, you can put them in areas of the frostbite into warm to touch water. That's, in other words, not hot, just warm. So that's the difference. Don't try to put them in a hot bath and put them by a fire and have them touch a hot kettle and anything else like that. Apparently it's just subtle, and then time is what you have. So that's what the experts say, so that's what I'm going with. I never had to experience, so I can't speak from experience, and I don't ever want to speak from experience because that means I might lose something. I like my appendages where they are. I like the color they are. So I'll probably pay attention and be mindful. All right. Oh, there was one thing I did want to show you. Okay. Hey. Hold on. She came running. Okay. See, about every hour on the hour, huh? Good? I'm in the middle of something. You say hi, everybody. This is Penelope. She made an appearance early this afternoon. You good? All right. She has to have human contact. About once an hour. She's good. All right. Okay. So what was I going to show you? Oh yeah. This is just a little on the geeky side for weather. So I'm going to look at we're going to look at the atmosphere, all right, from a top-down column. All right, so let's go to this guy right here. Okay, so you know what? Yeah, I can do this. And then, but I want the next page. All right, so this guy right here, this little dashed line, this represents the freezing line of the atmosphere. So our profile is mostly to the left of this line. There's a little bit to the right, not by much, and right about in here. So it's kind of right on the border. So what that usually means is it's more of a sleet and then a snow profile. And if you don't, though, have a lot of lift, it's hard to get the snow to develop. So let's take a look at that. Let's see. Let me put this right here. Yeah, let's do this. Okay, so now we're looking at time. All right, so T for time actually goes this way. All right, and sometimes these maps go in different directions on time. But anyways, this is going left from right to left. And everything usually in our brains go left to right. So I know. I didn't design the program. It's just the way it is. Okay, so what you're looking at then is a couple things. Up here, clear that out. This is the snow growth layer. This little line right here. So you need, for good snow, you need moisture in that snow growth layer. All right, so we do happen to have some moisture here. That's good. But we don't have any here. We do have some here. Now, it's not a lot. It's like in the, 70, 80 percentile percentage of humidity. So there's some there. It's just not completely saturated. All right, so that's a little light on the moisture side. That's what I'm trying to take home for that one. Plus, right here, there's just no moisture. It's bone dry. Now, underneath that, right in here, there's no moisture at all. I mean, it's super bone dry. All right, that's that dry slot we talked about that comes in. So you're already moisture starved here in Oklahoma City for this whole thing, just based off the way it looks. Now, you need lift in the atmosphere. So you need the omega, we call it. All right, now in this particular plot, you want to look for these red contours like this. You see how this red contours kind of goes in like tight over and over and over? That's good. That's really good lift. Now, what this represents here is lift along the leading edge of the Arctic front as it comes in. So that's standard. That's normal. And that's what squeezes out the little bit of snow grains, otherwise light freezing drizzle, and some sleet, which you'll notice here in orange. So in other words, this particular model seems to think that we'll have very little freezing rain or drizzle and pretty much all sleet. And the models go back and forth as to how much sleet you'll get and how much it'll be the really light freezing drizzle. I think we had a mixture of both, so it doesn't really matter. I think we'll probably see more sleet than the freezing drizzle, but it won't amount to a whole lot. The total accumulation here on this chart, when you add all these up, it brings this line up like this, right here, and we follow the line over to the right, and it's up around 0.13, 0.14 inches. So like I said, not a whole lot, but enough to do what it needs to do. Okay, the other thing is you do have a lot of moisture down here in the lower levels. So we've gone from this green to purple. So we're saturated down here. So in other words, you got your lift, at least early on, and you got the moisture, but then your lift drops off. You really don't have a whole lot of lift to squeeze much out of this moisture pool. All right, this is all trapped in behind the front. Now up above, let's go back up above. What do you have up here in the snow growth layer where the snow actually grows to develop? Well, unfortunately, even though we did get a little return of moisture, we didn't really get a lot of lift. And I don't see a bunch of red contours up here of omega. So that means we don't have much of a storm system with this one. Most of the lift is generated along their frontal inversion. Okay, so that's in Oklahoma City. So that's how you can take a look at this and go, oh, well, it's not that really big of a deal when it comes to the broad scheme of things of big totals, all right, for a winter storm. When you say winter storm, you don't think little totals, you think big totals. But that's a little total storm. Let's go to Tulsa. What's their difference? Well, their difference is they have a slightly colder profile. So this model likes to think that they're going to be in the snow bracket all day long. I'm a little leery of that. I still think they get a little bit of that freezing rain and sleet earlier on, but I could go with an earlier transition to snow. But let's take a look what they've got to go work with. So again, huge area of dry slot right here that comes in, but it gets shut off pretty soon. This is, by the way, about 9 o'clock in the morning right here, and this is 7 o'clock right here. So again, from their 7 o'clock time frame, they're also getting the mixture of the snow and freezing rain and sleet in that region. And they've got the moisture, but they don't have a whole lot of lift either. Their omega came in with the front, but otherwise that's about it. And if you look upstairs, snow growth zone up here, you do have some moisture, but you don't have a lot of lift. But once you get right here into this section, you do get at least a combination of the three. And so that is why Tulsa's got a little bit better snow, because it's actually going to be generating snow on this back end of the system. So from roughly about mid-morning through afternoon, you've got your lift and your moisture to work with that is favorable for snow accumulation. So there you go. So that's kind of a difference between, 100 miles or whatever between Oklahoma City and Tulsa. So the weather can change significantly, especially this time of the year, depending on your thermodynamic profile. So like this one, for example, again, here is our freezing line right here. And I am at Tuesday at 4 o'clock in the morning, and it shows that you're completely to the left of the line, which means you are below freezing on the whole thing. And that's why it went all snow in the profile. Now, will that be 100% correct? I doubt it. There's usually always a little warm nose that hangs in there a little bit longer than anticipated. But needless to say, that's why you have a mixed bag. Okay, that is it. That's all the information I have for you. So pretty much nothing has really changed from the forecast from earlier today, which is good, or really from the last few days. I haven't really had to change anything, which is also good. I don't like changing. I like getting it right the first time and keeping it. Where I'd rather you think of me as a broken record. Man, he never changes the forecast. Always says the same thing once he puts it out there. I'm like, darn straight. I always laugh when guys had to change the forecast every 5 minutes. I'm like, like you're really bad at your job. But anyway, it's fun. But yeah, looks like a pretty good little storm system. And right now, my issue is because I have an appointment to get these stitches taken out on Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. and I'm just sitting here. I'm already sweating it. I'm already stressing out over it. So if I'm stressing out, you're stressing out. If you have any medical appointments, they may cancel it. I may call and see if I can't reschedule it for the next day. I don't know. We'll see. But I definitely don't want to be driving in that stuff. So, they might even open. They may close. So tomorrow, Monday, I'm going to get on the horn and see what I can do about that. I'm sure a lot of people will be trying to change their appointments over just because you don't want to be driving in that stuff. The ice is no fun. Even if it's a few hundredths, doesn't matter. It's that stuff slip and slide. But up north, you got some snow, so you're probably better off with that. As we talked about, if you're late, just kind of tune it in. We're not looking for a whole lot of snow here in Oklahoma City. 1/2 inch to 1 inch right now is what the trend has been going for the last couple of runs. So in other words, it's been trending down just a hair. And then as you get to Tulsa, right around 3 inches it looks like. And then much higher amounts once you get to Bartlesville, and then far northeast Oklahoma, Missouri, Kansas, up around 1 foot in some of those areas. Let's see, we'll have some blowing snow in some places because of the winds up around 30 plus. And like I said, I don't expect any significant power outages, but there might be some sporadic isolated areas, probably in eastern Oklahoma, closer to Fort Smith, if those ice amounts can get a little higher, around 1/3 of an inch. Let me see, anything else? I think that was it. Timing was, again, daybreak on Tuesday, so right about the time we all start getting ready to go out the door for work. That's when things are all go downhill really fast. It'll be like a flash freeze too. It'll happen quick, so you don't get like a few hours to drive around on it till it finally freezes over. It's gonna be one of those deals that once it starts happening, it's fast. And then we are gonna be stuck in a deep freeze for several days after that through Saturday, which means if you do happen to lose water due to pipes being frozen, they will not thaw by nature's hand anyway until the weekend. You'll have to do it. And then any precipitation that we do have, a couple things, it's not going to melt, so to speak, but because it seems to be fairly light, I don't see it being a problem across the body of Oklahoma for the most part past Tuesday, really. So Wednesday, I think with the ground temperature and some of the friction for the vehicles that were out there and the dryness in the atmosphere, I think a lot of that kind of let up on the main roadways. Your side roads and stuff that usually always kind of get a little icy, those are usually like your neighborhoods, they're always worse than the main ones. So I think that'll stay the same for Thursday, but I think the main roads actually probably be okay because there's not a lot of precipitation. Like we're talking about, we're a couple hundredths of an inch or to a couple tenths at most, so that's not much. So we'll see what happens. But when you do get extremely cold temperatures, it does have a tendency to offset the heat coming in from under the ground on those roadways. It does prevent them from trying to thaw those out or let it evaporate. So we'll see how well it goes. If we had a lot of precipitation, I would have said, forget it. Nobody's going anywhere for like 2 or 3 days. But if we're getting just such a light little glaze, there's still some hope there that can all evaporate. Now, if you live up in northern Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, forget about it. Your roads are gross till Saturday. So I don't know what you're going to do up there. Traffic's going to be a disaster getting around. You have to wait for the road crews to get out there and do their magic. That's I think about all I got here for you. So that's it for me. If you've been under a rock and don't know, I'm switching everything to membership platform. So everything's going to be on the subscriber based. opportunities here for options, and on my website you can check it out, aarontuttle.com. The blog that I posted today has a link to it. It's got its own separate blog to it. There's a lot of posts on social media. You can find one and sign up. You can do it on Facebook, set fan subscriptions. You can do Patreon, because sometimes Facebook is putting you on a wait list. Don't ask me. I don't know. I don't know nothing about it. I got no control over it. Facebook is Facebook. It does its own thing. And they don't answer the question. There's been a lot of creators that complain about it, and because their people are on a wait list. And like, why are my people on a wait list? And this Facebook just shuts it down. They just close the group. They don't they close the question, and they don't answer it. I detest companies that you cannot get a hold of a human being. Detest it. Followed by the human being that's not even in the country, because they're reading it from a script that they don't even know what they're talking about. That's the second thing I don't like, but I digress. But yeah, so but that's an option. And then Patreon, and then you can do TikTok, you can do Instagram Live, and you can do YouTube memberships. And then you can also do PayPal, Venmo, so all that's on the website you can check into. But it's like most of the platforms, like $2.49, I think, to $2.99, somewhere in there. Each platform has its own bottom end number that it'll allow you to pick. So I picked the lowest. So it's all on that. And you can do, they're all for a month, because most of them will force you to do it per month. And I don't have any control over that. Again, I've just so you know, I have very little control over these social media platforms. They don't give us much to work with, but I can control some things. So like the PayPal, I can change that one, so you can pay a year in PayPal. You can do a year in Patreon. You can do a year in Venmo. Those are options if you want to do a year at a time. But the rest are just kind of a monthly deal. And then what we're going to be doing is all weather content is going to be through the Facebook private group page and the Facebook fan subscription page, of course, and whatever specific platform that you've signed up for. So like YouTube memberships, for example, it'll be there if you're a member. If you're not a member and you're on my YouTube channel, you won't see it. If you are a member, you'll see it. That's how it works. So same thing with all the other platforms. If you're a member, you'll see it. If you're not, you won't. So that's the weather content's going to be going forward. So that's the videos, that's live tornado coverage, my blogs, all that kind of stuff. So that's how I'm structuring that, and that'll be active the 1st of March. So I advise you to get in now. And the reason why I'm pushing it so hard, so fast now, because we have 2 weeks left. And then what we always say around here, our unofficial start to tornado season is March 15th. So, but sometimes it comes a little sooner. So I'm putting a hard cutoff on the 1st, so I can get all this worked out in case there's any hiccups, and get it done before tornado season hits, because then I'm going to be busy. I don't have a lot of time in the spring just because of the weather. And if we get like those little events one after another, man, it just eats up whatever time I did have. So I won't be able to, handle a bunch of questions or concerns, or trying to get in the group. You can't get in because I haven't approved you yet. Well, I can't approve you if I don't have time to sleep, much less time to approve you. So it's going to get backed up is what I'm telling you. It'll get backlogged. So my suggestion is to get in now, so you don't have to worry about it while I have the time to do it. And I honestly don't even have the time now. Why? Because my tax guys already said, hey, I need you to get your stuff in early. We're trying to push them through early this year. I'm like, of course you are. Of all the years, this is when you want me to get it to you right now. I'm like, man, just whatever. So that's my life right now. I have so many things like that, and I don't know about you. I own three companies. Yeah, because I help my wife with Team Tuttle Realty. All right, so I have an AT's Fit Club for my diet guide. Then, of course, I have AT's Weather. And then, what else am I doing? I'm missing something. My brain's not working. Anyway, so I got a lot of paperwork to do. And just the thought of it makes me want to just go to sleep. Anyway, I don't know, man. I'm crazy. I do stuff. I create things. I just see what happens. I don't know. I'm a tinkerer, and I just go and try something. So that's it. I get out of here because I'm wearing down. I've been up since, like I said, 5:30. I think I've had the flu all week. Feel a little bit better now. I'm like about I was hoping I'd be bounced back by now, but I'm not. I'm like I don't know, 70% today. So I was hoping I'd be 70 yesterday and like 90 today. So it's getting there. I think tomorrow I'll probably be like 90, hopefully. You guys have a great night then. Thanks for again tuning in, and thanks for jumping with me on the new ride going down the road and to the membership platform. And we'll see what happens. Take care. Talk soon. Bye.